Prime Video keeps putting out shows that critics tear apart in their reviews, and then those same shows go on to dominate the streaming charts for weeks straight. That gap between what critics write and what people actually watch is real, and it's bigger than you'd guess. Today I'm going through 6 Prime Video mysteries and thrillers that were written off by critics, but build a real, loyal audience anyway. You decide who got it right. Let's get into it. Chris Pratt plays James Reese, a Navy SEAL who comes home from a mission that wiped out most of his platoon, and something about the official version of events doesn't sit right with him. What follows is quieter and more methodical than most military thrillers bother to be. Long stretches of Reese just watching, waiting, and piecing things together before he moves. Critics called it thin and predictable when it dropped in 2022, landing it at just 41% on Rotten Tomatoes. Audiences disagreed hard enough to push the score to 96%, and that 55-point gap is still one of the widest you'll find anywhere on the platform. I went in expecting a generic action vehicle for a Marvel star. What I got was a show more interested in grief and paranoia than gunfights, at least early on, and that patience seems to be exactly what critics held against it. Countdown starts small, a detective investigating the murder of a federal officer, and keeps widening until it's clear the case was never what it looked like on the surface. Jensen Ackles leads a task force pulled together from different agencies, and the friction between them ends up being just as interesting as the case itself. Reviewers were rough on this one at launch, landing it down around 40% and pointing to dialogue that leans hard into genre habits. I noticed it too, honestly, especially in the first couple of episodes. But audiences pushed it well past 80%. And by the midpoint, I'd stopped noticing the rough edges myself because I was too invested in where the conspiracy was headed. It shot into Prime's top 10 within days of release. The audience made up its mind a lot faster than the critics did. If you're into finding shows critics got wrong, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you catch the next one. Butterfly follows a former intelligence operative living quietly in South Korea until a decision from his past catches up with him, in the form of an agent sent specifically to end him. Daniel Dae Kim carries the role with a stillness that plays well against the show's sharper action, and the location work through Seoul and Busan gives it a texture most spy shows skip. The reviews at launch focused on how predictable the twists felt and how safe the plotting played it for a story built around family betrayal. Fair points, some of them, but the family thread underneath the espionage kept me watching past the action scenes, and it clearly did the same for a much bigger audience. Butterfly landed as one of Prime's most streamed shows within its first 2 weeks. Hand of God. A powerful judge has a mental breakdown after his son's suicide attempt, and becomes convinced God is speaking directly to him. Guided by those visions, he sets out to find the person who assaulted his daughter-in-law, using his position and his money to do what the law hasn't. Critics found it bleak for the sake of being bleak, and gave it one of the harshest scores on this list. Audiences saw something critics may have moved past too quickly. Ron Perlman playing a man who is dangerous, delusional, and still somehow sympathetic, chasing a real mystery about who hurt his family and why. It's uncomfortable television. It is not trying to be anything else. If you want a mystery that doubles as a character study of a man convinced he's righteous, Hand of God is a hidden one. The next show swaps religious delusion for a Rust Belt murder, and a police chief who is far too close to the case to be objective. American Rust. In a dying Pennsylvania steel town, the son of the woman a police chief loves is accused of murder. Chief Del Harris has 2 options: investigate it straight, or protect the boy and compromise everything he's supposed to stand for. He does not choose cleanly. Critics compared it unfavorably to other prestige crime dramas covering similar ground, and mostly found it too gloomy to recommend. Audiences responded to exactly what critics dismissed. Jeff Daniels playing a good man, making increasingly bad choices, in a town so worn down that everyone in it is compromised in some way. The mystery of who actually committed the murder matters, but the real hook is watching how far Del is willing to bend the case to protect the people he loves. If grim, character-driven crime dramas are your genre, American Rust deserved more attention than critics gave it. Utopia. A group of comic book fans track down a rare, cult graphic novel. Inside its pages are predictions of real-world pandemics, drawn years before they happened. That's the premise Utopia opens with, and it does not waste time getting violent. Within the first episode, the fans realize the people hunting them for the comic are just as real as the conspiracy inside it. Critics called it too grim, too cynical, arriving at the wrong moment. Audiences disagreed just enough to push the score past them. The story moves fast, the conspiracy keeps opening new doors, and John Cusack plays a man who may be the answer to the whole mystery, or may be lying about everything. If you want a paranoid, comic book-fueled conspiracy that critics underrated, this is where the list starts. That's the smallest gap on this list. 6 shows, 6 verdicts critics and audiences couldn't agree on. Which one are you trying first? Tell me in the comments which side you're on. And subscribe to the Smart Binge for more shows worth forming your own opinion about.